An old man gives shelter. St. Jarnail Singh was a man of peace. He always said that we wanted to get our rights in a peaceful manner. But as it became clear that we were being humiliated, that our women folk were being dishonored, then he became convinced that we needed to do something more. He was a great personality, worthy of devotion. I was at the Golden Temple with St. Jarnail Singh until the end of May 1984. As June 3rd was the martyrdom day of Guru Arjan, I went back to my village Tandra to celebrate there. So when the attack took place I wasn't in Amritsar. A curfew had been imposed over the whole of Punjab, so people had to stay where they were. The fear was that we all might converge on Amritsar, which is indeed what would have happened. As Mecca is for the Muslims, so the Golden Temple is for us. The moment every Sikh, man, woman, and child, heard about the attack, he was full of outrage and anger. Thousands of Sikhs came out of their homes taking whatever weapons they could, and they marched toward Amritsar, despite the curfew. Many were stopped on the way and many were killed by the army as they were proceeding toward the Golden Temple. As the news of the attack spread, 300 or 400 people collected at the Gurudwara where I was. We had 7 or 8 tractor trolleys, and we piled onto those and started toward Amritsar. After we had covered about 30 or 40 miles, we were surrounded by the army from all directions. They fired in the air at first, and then at the trolleys. A few people got injured, and then we decided it would be wiser to go back rather than to die at that point, without being able to get to Amritsar. When we got back we saw that there were some dead bodies lying around there, too. More and more people gathered to listen to the radio, and on June 5th it became clear that the army had been able to break inside the Golden Temple complex. The resistance from inside had been so tough that tanks had to be brought in. When we heard of tanks inside that holy spot, some of the young boys thought that we should start killing Hindus all around, but the elders told them that this was not the time for revenge. Wait and see what will be done, they said. The curfew was released on June 7, and one person who had been able to escape the cordon around the Golden Temple came straggling into our village. He had come on foot, and he started telling us gruesome stories about what had happened inside. It was just like the raid by Ahmad Shah Abdali. Small children of only a few months old were tossed around and then killed with the butts of the rifles. Women were raped inside the sacred precincts of the Golden Temple. The army was shooting people down right and left. Militants or pilgrims, it didn't matter to them. I later heard the same stories from other eyewitnesses. But little of this came out in the press. Slowly, we all started coming to the conclusion that something had to be done. We held a meeting at the home of Professor Rajinder Pal Singh, who was later killed, and nominated Man Singh Shaharu as head of the Khalistan Commando Force. That professor's wife was later elected to Parliament, which shows how much people supported the militant idea. Lists were prepared of all those who had perpetrated heinous crimes, particularly against women and children, and then it was decided how they should be punished. Mostly the men went on those missions to punish the guilty, while the women did things like carrying weapons from place to place, giving food and clothing to the fighters, and so on. All of those in the militancy, at least at first, were very devout people. They would all get up at 4 in the morning to pray, and whenever they were not in action, they would be praying. They never believed in bothering the common people, like taking money from them or forcing them to help at gunpoint. They were saintly people. Later, though, the movement was infiltrated by all kinds of criminal elements, and misdeeds were committed. This was a big problem. Later other guerrilla organizations came into being, and all of them used to come to me for shelter. I would help all of them in any way that I could, like giving them money, providing food, getting the weapons they needed, around finding hideouts in various locations. I would offer advice, too, if they wanted it. I knew all the key figures. Manbir Singh Shaharu, Lab Singh, Pta Singh Brahma, Gujjant Singh Bubdi Shinwala and others. I was arrested twice, and the police tried to get information from me about all of these people. One time I was taken up on a bridge and given 24 hours to come up with information, otherwise I was to be shot there. But a lot of people from various villages intervened on my behalf, and I was released. Another time I was severely beaten. But of course I couldn't tell anything about those freedom fighters. Now almost all of them have been killed, so I feel very badly when I think about it. I have to say that I was never afraid during all this time, because the freedom fighters were always with me. One time the general of the Khalistan Liberation Force, Gurjant Singh Bhadshingwala, was with me at Gurudwara. The whole place was encircled by police. But there was a small window at the back and my son drove to that on his cycle. Gurjant Singh Bhadshingwala jumped out and rode off with him. To distract the police, I came out without my shirt, as if I had just woken up, and talked to the police while Bhadshingwala got away on my son's cycle. Babaji, father, they were calling me, because of my age. But as they chatted with a sleepy old man, a top militant was escaping out the back. I knew about all the militant actions, as I was trusted by everybody. I witnessed the entire struggle, you might say, from inside that Gurudwara. So eventually it became clear that I was on a hit list, that I would be killed by police. That's why I left India. But I am just passing time here. Somebody asked me, "Are you happy, now that you are out of India?" I said, "What happiness is there here? How can I be happy when our houses are being looted, our women raped, our people destroyed? Until we have our own nation, we can't know the meaning of happiness. I am an old man and I don't know whether I will live to see the establishment of Khalistan. But it will happen, of that I am sure. If not in my lifetime, then later. Our determination knows no bounds of space or time.